What's the most important thing in fantasy football?
Duh. Winning.
That's exactly right. And what makes that a little bit easier? Finding some league-winning wide receivers here in 2022. What is going on, Headline Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Today we're going to dive in and find out how to really determine who the potential league winners are at the wide receiver position here in 2022 fantasy football. Got a lot of good information coming up here in the show today. Looking for guys that catch a lot of balls. What doesn't catch balls is Manscaped.com, one of our sponsors here for the year. So just a reminder, head over to Manscaped.com, use the referral code Headliners at checkout, get 20% off and free shipping. It's not just ball trimmers. They have all kinds of stuff there to help fill your travel bag, use around the house, whatever it may be. They have you covered. Make sure you check that out. But this is what we're going to be diving into here today. And we're going to talk about league winners, right? Well, the first thing that I mentioned in the running back video that I did a couple days ago, the same goes for wide receivers. First and second round picks are not league winners, everybody. They're just not. They're drafted that high because they have high expectations. We're looking for guys like over the past few years that you've gotten in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe even the 8th round that turned out to be top 12 options. So what we're looking at in today's episode are wide receivers that were drafted outside of the top 25 overall, so after the second round, yet still finished top 12 at the position. Now, on average, at least 7 wide receivers that are drafted after the second round turn into league winners each year, so we need to try to narrow down who those 7 could be. Now, one way to do that, 76% of those league winners were actually their own team's number 1 wide receiving option. So if we can go through some historical data here, look back over the last 5 years, find some of these guys and where they finished, where they were drafted, and then apply that to 2022. Let's see what we can come up with. So let's dive into 2017 first. Number 1 overall that year happened to be Deandre Hopkins, followed by Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, Julio Jones, Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Tyreek Hill, Marvin Jones Jr., don't see that name a whole lot at the top, Adam Thielen, AJ Green, and Brandon Cooks. Now look where they were drafted. Deandre Hopkins finished number 1 overall, was drafted in the 3rd round as wide receiver 13. Huge boost to your fantasy team. Same thing for Keenan Allen. He was drafted 31st overall, finished wide receiver 3. He was wide receiver 16 off the board. Larry Fitzgerald was wide receiver 22, finishes number 5. You can kind of see where we're going here. Look at Marvin Jones. Was pick 109, wide receiver 43, and finished as wide receiver 9. Huge value, league winner right there. Same can be said for Adam Thielen. Now, let's go down to 2018. Where we had Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Devonte Adams, AB, Julio, Michael Thomas, Thielen, Juju, Mike Evans, Robert Woods, Stephon Diggs, and Keenan Allen. So only 4 guys this year were able to be drafted after the second round, yet finish inside the top 12. It was Adam Thielen, Juju, Robert Woods, and Stephon Diggs. Robert Woods being the biggest hit right there, right? 88th overall, wide receiver 35 off the board, yet finished as wide receiver 10. Huge value there. On to 2019. Now, we had Michael Thomas, Godwin, Jones, Kupp, Hopkins, Galladay, Parker, Allen, Cooper, Edelman, Robinson, and Evans. I think a lot of people, kind of sidebar here for a second, because I see the name Cooper Kupp in 2019 as wide receiver 4, and a lot of people, I see it all the time. I don't want to trust what happened with Cooper Kupp last year. It was a one-off, right? That's never going to happen again. He was wide receiver 4 overall 2 years ago. So he's finished inside the top 4 2 of the last 3 years. I don't know if I can call that a fluke, really. I think a lot of people forget about this. He was wide receiver 21 drafted that year, finished as wide receiver 4. You got Devonte Parker, fantasy Bigfoot himself, drafted as wide receiver 76, 220th overall, yet finished as wide receiver 7. That's what we're trying to find, right? We're trying to find these great values. All right, 2020 now. Had Adams, Hill, Diggs, Ridley, Hopkins, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Adam Thielen, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, AJ Brown, and Allen Robinson. Remember Justin Jefferson this year? He caught a lot of people, by surprise and helped win a lot of leagues. His ADP was 131st overall, wide receiver 49, yet finished as wide receiver 6. Same thing for Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 27 off the board, finished as wide receiver 3. Absolutely love value like that. You kind of see where we're going here. Now we move to last year. You had Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Devonte Adams, Jefferson Chase, Hill, Diggs, Evans, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams, Hunter Renfrow, and DK Metcalf. Where was Cooper Kupp drafted last year? It wasn't in the first 2 rounds. It was in the very end of the 4th. Some of you may have actually got lucky enough to get him beginning of the 5th last year. Wide receiver 18, finished number 1 overall. Deebo Samuel, 88th overall. Wide receiver 36, finished as wide receiver 2. League winners. Same thing with Jamar Chase, 77th overall. Wide receiver 30. Wide receiver 5 finish. Mike Williams, Hunter Renfrow, both into the double digits. They finished top 11. So that's what we're trying to find. Those are league winners. So when we take a look at history here, and we go back and look at all the names that we've had highlighted in yellow in the past 5 years, what rounds were they drafted in? Can we kind of find some probabilities to really narrow down where we need to look this year? Well, here we go. Rounds 3 and 4 saw 52% of the names. 5 through 8, 30%. 9 through 12, 12%. And 13 plus was only 6%. So remember, when you're playing probabilities, you're trying to find the biggest bulk of numbers that you can get, right? To really help narrow down where are these guys coming from. We could go in the rounds 13 plus, but trying to find those 6% when you're looking at all those different rounds is going to be a lot harder. Personally, I would rather look at the 82% worth of wide receivers in rounds 3 through 8. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's pull up wide receivers that are being drafted currently, consensus ADP, not Jake's list, consensus ADP. And here are the wide receivers that are being drafted in rounds 3 through 8. So quite a few. I mean, I can sit here and fine. I can hear you out there. I'll read through them because you may have your phone down and you're listening through some AirPods, whatever it is. All right, we got Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Deontay Johnson, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Michael Thomas, Jerry Jeudy, Amon-Ra, Cortland Sutton, Elijah Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, Gabriel Davis, Darnell Mooney, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Smith, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Lockett, and Rashad Bateman. So we said earlier, on average, there's like 7 league winners, right? Well, are all of them going to be in these rounds? No, but the bulk of them could be, right? The bulk of them are going to be in this list. Who are they? Well, we also mentioned above that 76% of those receivers that finished that high that were league winners were also their team's number 1 receiving option. So let's take a look at this list now. Try to narrow it down a little bit by looking at wide receivers drafted after round 2 and before round 9, and they're also their team's overall wide receiver 1. The list has gotten smaller, right? We now have Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Remember, right now, DeAndre Hopkins suspended, so technically Hollywood's going to be their number 1 to start the season. Michael Thomas. I have Amon-Ra as the current number 1 in Detroit. Jamison Williams more than likely not going to start the season, still recovering from the torn ACL. DJ Chark coming off injury as well. Amon-Ra could start the season as their number 1. Cortland Sutton, Darnell Mooney, Juju, and Rashad Bateman. But here's what's crazy. When you look at this list, look how many of these guys have a new quarterback in 2022 from what they had in 2021. Almost the entire damn list is highlighted in yellow now. We got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 6 guys. 6 that have their same quarterbacks this year that they had last year. Now, is that entirely a bad thing? No, absolutely not. Some of these guys got a huge upgrade at the quarterback position. Who are those guys? Let's color them in green. Michael Pittman. I would say that Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz is an improvement. Terry McLaurin. I would say that Carson Wentz over Taylor Heineke is an improvement. DJ Moore. I know this one's almost splitting hairs, but as of right now, I will say that Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold for DJ Moore. Marquise Hollywood Brown goes from Lamar Jackson to Kyler Murray. Better situation throwing the ball in Arizona. That's an upgrade for Marquise Brown. Cortland Sutton goes from Teddy B, Drew Lock, whatever you want to say there in Denver, to Russell Wilson. And then Juju goes from an old, decrepit Big Ben to Patrick Mahomes. Not bad. Right? So when we look at this overall list, how many names can I really narrow it down to say, hey, these are who I feel have the best chances? Well, here it is right here. And this is my top 12 that I feel have the best chance to be league winners based off the current situations that we're talking about. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks, Hollywood Brown, Amon-Ra, Cortland Sutton, Darnell Mooney, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Rashad Bateman. So when you look at this list, do I think that 7 of these 12 are going to be league winners? I would love to sit here and tell you, yes, absolutely, that I've narrowed it down. I've given you a great opportunity. Probably not 7, but there's going to be a couple in this list right here, and who is it going to be? I know I love myself some Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. We've talked about Michael Pittman here already before. Amon-Ra is a name that's climbing. I've mentioned Marquise Hollywood Brown. Everybody's on the Cortland Sutton bandwagon. Darnell Mooney going to get a bajillion and 12 targets. We're going to dive into a few of these guys a little bit deeper individually in some future videos, but these are the names to start paying attention to. But which of these options can you get as the cheapest option on draft day to really maximize the amount of chances that you have to find one of those league winners? Remember, first and second rounders are not league winners. We're trying to find guys we can get a little bit later. A few of these guys really fit that mold, right? And it really kind of puts into perspective a lot of the things we've been talking about here over the last coming weeks. These are some names to pay attention to, but like we've said here in the past, this is always fun. This is always fun for us to go through here and do this and look at things differently. You will never see a video on this channel by myself, Kyle, the doc, anybody that comes on here and says, hey, I know something that everybody else doesn't know, because as a community, we're doing this together. Now, if you've seen the comment section over the past few weeks, you can see that there's a lot of interaction going back and forth. People are coming to us with ideas to help try to put together tools that make us all better, and that's exactly what we do here on this channel. We are not experts. There are no such thing as experts in fantasy football, and if you hear anybody telling you that, they're just lying to you. There's no school for fantasy football. It's a lot of luck, it's a lot of probability, and it's a lot of fun to do with your friends and your community, and that's what we're doing here. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Looking forward to talking to you guys down below. Leave those comments down there, because I'm definitely going to be going back and forth and talking with a lot of people to try to see if we maybe can add more to this. Is there anything else that we can look at to really kind of narrow it down a little bit more? Looking forward to doing that down below in the comment section. But for now, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, a great week, and we'll talk to you later.
I'm a headliner.